Howdy, entertainment geeks of the world. We've got a good one for you tonight with Desiree Williams with the Trailer Watch, a rant with Angelo Aramiera, and a whole lot more.
So kick off your Sunday shoes because from Ball State University, the real deal starts now.
Hello and welcome to The Real Deal, Ball State's one and only entertainment news show. I'm Aiden Hall.
And I'm Madeline May. As always, we will begin with our Hollywood headlines.
Warning, today's particular segment may contain sequences of sadness, nostalgia, and confirmation of true love existing on this cynical rock.
That's right. Tina Merrick has the details in this week's Hollywood headlines. Tina?
Unfortunately, there's sad news for America's Next Top Model fans. Yahoo TV reports the show is ending after 22 cycles and 12 years on the air. Host and executive producer Tyra Banks tweeted the news to her 12.9 million followers on Wednesday. She wrote, "Thinking hashtag ANTM22 should be our last cycle. I truly believe it's time. May your picks be forever fierce. Keep on smizing." The series finale of America's Next Top Model will air on Friday, December 4th. In happier and nostalgic news, the original singing voices of Aladdin and Jasmine reunited on Good Morning America Wednesday. The occasion? To celebrate Disney's Diamond Edition re-release of Aladdin. Entertainment Tonight reports Brad Kane and Lea Salonga joined forces again 23 years later to perform their iconic duet, A Whole New World. The song's composer Alan Menken was there to play piano for the performance. The tune actually won Menken an Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1992. He explained of composing the piece all those years ago, "We just wanted that very romantic feeling of a flight." Speaking of romance, fashion model Gigi Hadid, Joe Jonas's girlfriend, has made her directorial debut. E! reports Hadid co-directed Jonas's first music video with his new band DNCE for the song Cake by the Ocean. Jonas told Entertainment Weekly, "She's always had a high creative eye, so she came up with the concept and we rolled with it. She was a very good boss." The vid is a very literal take on the track. It features a massive sponge cake right on the beach, which becomes the main feature in the video's first annual International Cake Fight Championships. While the competition's going down, Jonas and his bandmates Jinju Lee, Cole Whittle, and Jack Lawless are singing along on a stage, jumping around, and having a good time. Jonas told EW of the video, "We're really excited about it because it's just something that I think is wacky and fun."
Thanks, Tina. Now, if movies and TV aren't your bag, we got just what you need.
Here's Michael Mathis with the Music Minute.
Well, hello everyone. For today's segment, I'm here to give the music lovers what they want to hear, all the breaking news that's happening in the music industry. So let's start this music segment with a lady we all secretly love to listen to while we cry our hearts out in the dark. That's right, folks. It's the power vocalist herself, Adele. Fans watching the X Factor UK on Sunday night, October 18th, were likely shocked at what they heard during the commercial break. What appears to be a preview of a long-awaited new Adele song. In the nearly 30-second song preview, the British singer gives a soulful delivery over some simple piano chords. The only image seen on the black screen are the lyrics of the beautiful somber tune. It's been rumored that Adele's next album, the follow-up to her massively successful sophomore album, 21, includes the smashing hits of Someone Like You and Rolling It Deep, will arrive on November 20th. However, Sony Music Entertainment has not confirmed the release date. Adele's publicist has declined to comment. The next music news has a lot of Justin Bieber fans asking themselves, what do you mean? Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez have always been that couple that have either been on or off. I feel like audience everywhere don't know if they're really a couple or not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a little bit more confused. Justin Bieber has released a new track featuring Selena Gomez on OVO Sound Radio on Saturday, October 17th. The song, with lyrics wishing about being able to work things out in a relationship, has the former couple trading vocals. It's a duet comes about a month before Bieber's new album, Purpose. It's set to be released. Purpose is due out on November 13th, and Selena Gomez's new album, Reveal, has already arrived on October 9th. And our last but not least, here's some surprising local music news. If you haven't heard on the streets or through social media, Malcolm Moore and Ryan Lewis are coming to Edmonds Auditorium at Ball State University. Malcolm Moore and Ryan Lewis are known for their Grammy Award-winning album, The Heist, which included the classic Goodwill shopping song, Thrift Shop, and to the equal love ballad, Same Love. The duo are finally hitting the road after nearly 2 years of taking a step back from the spotlight. With their newest album dropping sometime this year, their hit Downtown is already blowing up the charts. Catch the duo February 3rd at Edmonds Auditorium. I'm Michael Mathis, and this has been your Music Minute.
Thanks for that, Michael. Sounds like Macklemore fans on campus have a real Mackle score on their hands.
Indeed they do.
I'm sure that those in attendance won't be Mackle bored at all.
I think we're pushing it now.
Madeline, who's your favorite Winnie the Pooh character? Mine's Mackle Eeyore.
I'm going to throw us to break before things get further out of hand. Coming up is Holly Barnhart with a retrospect into a beloved cartoon and Angelo Oriema with a rant.
There'll be Mackle more after the break.
Okay, that one wasn't too bad.
How are we doing?
Oh, he's adorable.
How cute! You know who could fix the kid in a snap? Vlad. Hi, Dad.
Are we ready to do this?
Guys, we're running out of time.
You have no idea what they do. What do you want? I have to leave. You have nowhere else to go. This is your home now.
Constitution. It's what makes us Americans. Shouldn't we show our enemies who we are?
Things are starting to fall apart.
Is this your position or your government's? Is there any outcome here where I'm not either detained or shot?
Do we need to worry about you?
No.
What's the move when you don't know what the game is?
The next mistake our countries make could be the last one.
It's space. It doesn't cooperate. I guarantee you that at some point, everything's gonna go south on you. And you're gonna say, this is it. This is how I end.
Is it possible that he's still alive?
All right, everyone, find anything you can to barricade the doors.
We cannot let the monsters inside.
I just want to break the rules. Oh, what are you doing? Get me out! No! Keep going!
Come on, scaredy cat.
Thanks for sticking with us, especially considering the incident before the break.
We at The Real Deal are true professionals.
In other news, Holly Barnhart is here with a retrospective on the follow-up to the popular anime show Avatar: The Last Airbender. No, she will not be reminiscing about the pathetic excuse for a film that M. Night Shyamalan insulted fans with in 2011. Holly?
You know, many people give Avatar: The Legend of Korra a bad reputation simply because it's not its predecessor, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I find that to be really unfair. In my opinion, The Legend of Korra has been highly underrated and deserves to be recognized as a respectable Western anime. First off, I love that this show is much more mature than the Avatar: The Last Airbender, as it should be. Creators Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko created the show with the expectations that its viewers would be an older audience, specifically the young Last Airbender fans who had finally grown up. Someone like me! As a Last Airbender fan, I found these darker, more complicated themes to be just as exciting and interesting. I think it would have been cheap if the creators had written a similar storyline as The Last Airbender, but with a new avatar. In The Legend of Korra, I was intrigued with how they delved deeper into complex bending styles like blood bending and metal bending, as well as the origin and the powers of the avatar. I do have to agree with some of the critics, however, that the show has gotten a bit too complicated and unorganized. However, this is only true in the later seasons, and for that reason, I'm going to cut the creators some slack. They mentioned many times before that they planned for Legend of Korra to only have one season. So, when Nickelodeon signed them on for 3 additional seasons, they had to rush to create even more original ideas that tied together and made sense, which explains why things get a bit choppy. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Legend of Korra is a great sequel series to The Last Airbender, especially with regards to animation. What blew me away when I first saw Season 1 was how stunning the graphics were. Republic City is one of the most beautifully animated cities I've ever seen, anime or no anime. It complements the darker storylines and characters with a more toned-down modern feel that represents the time shift into 1920s industrialism. Speaking of the time gap between the two shows, I love how the Legend of Korra world reflects the 70-year technological difference while still sticking to the culture of The Last Airbender. The creators even made sure to bring back their kung fu fighting instructor, Sifu Kisu, to make sure that their modern interpretations of the bending disciplines were culturally accurate to the original styles. And while we're on the topic of bringing back things from The Last Airbender, there's plenty of reference material from the original show. After all, many of the main characters are descendants of the original Team Avatar, like Aang and Katara's kids in Lin Beifong. And let's not forget that they used the voice actor for Zuko, Dante Bosco, as Zuko's grandson Iroh. Talk about honoring a beloved character. Finally, I want to give my love for the new characters. The new badass female avatar Korra, the Zuko and Katara brainchild Mako, the Sokka doppelganger Bolin, and the avatar equivalent to Danica Patrick, Asami. This new Team Avatar is perfect in the new series and goes through just as much, if not more, character development than the original team. As older teenagers, they have a different dynamic than that of the original characters, and this helps reflect the more mature nature of the series. Most importantly, at the face of the series, Korra is a perfect foil to Aang as an avatar, and provides a much beloved change to what it means to be the savior of the world. So, to wrap it up, these are my reasons for why I love Avatar: The Legend of Korra. Overall, it's amazing as a series, just maybe not as a Nickelodeon series.
Thanks, Holly. I always felt like I would make a pretty good airbender myself.
Yeah, sure. I can see how you might think that. I hope they come out with a part 2 about the film.
Speaking of a part 2, Angelo Armera has the week's rant on why that's a terrible idea. Angelo, take it away.
Breaking Dawn of the Twilight series should be blamed for 2 things. 1, inspiring the author of 50 Shades of Grey, and 2, initiating this horrible Hollywood transition into making films 2 parts. First off, let me set the cadence by stating that 2-part films are dumb, and here's why. They aren't broken in half because it's the writer's artistic vision or because the story demands it. No, it's because the film company wants your money. Think about it. Breaking Dawn, Harry Potter, Mockingjay, all of these films have suffered from this trend, simply because they don't have enough filler content to fill these movies. This ultimately causes one movie to lack in quality. For example, some of the part 1s we've seen so far consisted of wizards dancing in the woods and Jennifer Lawrence singing about trees. You think maybe some of that could have been cut out? Or would the movie have lacked substance if Katniss didn't sing a number that would just be remixed and thrown on the radio? When it comes down to it, movies don't need to be divided into 2. We've gone decades of seeing wonderful movies that, even if they ran long, were immaculate as a single installment. Imagine with me, if you will. You're watching The Shawshank Redemption. Andy isn't in his cell, the tension is rising, they lift the poster on the wall, and bam, cut to black. The movie says, all right guys, see you next summer with your $7.50. No, that's not how it goes. It simply promotes quantity over quality and fills movies with unnecessary filler content to ensure that the companies receive more money. Frankly, as this trend has largely been associated with novels turned films, I've been able to keep my cool. But seeing as this upcoming Avengers movie is in 2 parts, it's clear that the plague has even gotten to Marvel, and maybe Disney, and that is where I draw the line. Don't you dare give me a Steamboat Willie cliffhanger or a Cars 3.5. Actually, just don't give me any more Cars movies at all, actually, but I digress. Please, Hollywood, please, just cut it out and give us the individual movies we deserve, and give them the quality they deserve. I'm Angelo Oriema, and that is all I have to rant about for this week.
Thank you, Angelo. It's obvious through your passionate outpouring that this issue shakes you to your Mackle core.
I thought this was over.
Last one, I promise.
Anyways, stick around because after our break, we have Desiree Williams with a trailer watch, Danny Yount with a film review, and so much more. Stay tuned.
Thanks for staying with us. Now that fall merrily rolls along its usual way, many films are beginning to roll out their trailers, so many in fact that it's nearly impossible to keep up with.
Here to review a handful of trailers you may have missed is our very own Desiree Williams. Desiree?
So for our first trailer, let's look at the film Our Brand is Crisis, starring Sandra Bullock and Billy Bob Thornton. Bullock's character comes out of retirement to help a failing Central American presidential candidate. Her enemy political consultant, played by Thornton, is campaigning for the other candidate. The film follows the battle between these characters and their candidates in the election. Overall, I think the most interesting part of this trailer is the fact that it is Sandra Bullock in a political movie, one based on a true story. We are used to seeing her in romantic comedy films where she plays a fun character. Seeing her play a serious and scheming politician is quite a change. After watching the trailer, it seems that this starts out as an interesting career choice for Bullock, but by the end, we see the true importance of this election and what it could mean for the people in Central America. Personally, I'm not that intrigued by the plot, so I won't go see the film. However, with these two headlining actors, I'm sure it will be very successful. The next trailer is for The Last Witch Hunter, starring Vin Diesel, Rose Leslie, and Elijah Wood. The film is set in modern times, yet witches are still living. Diesel's character killed the Queen Witch ages ago, but she cursed him in the process. He was cursed with immortality and separated from his loved ones for the rest of his life. Now that the most powerful witches have returned, Diesel's character, being the last of his kind, must destroy them once again. The trailer shows some fictional aspects of the film combined with the reality of the modern world, which really grabbed my attention. There are great special effects that created a dream world that I'm also very interested to learn more about. I also think this is a great film for Diesel because he uses his signature action skills a lot, but he also has to show more emotion. I will definitely watch this film in theaters. Lastly, let's look at Gem and the Holograms, starring Aubrey Peoples, Stephanie Scott, Aurora Pereno, and Haley Kiyoko. It's a classic story of a young girl in a small town finding her way to big city success. Gem starts out as a girl named Jerica who lives under her aunt's roof, along with her biological sister and two foster sisters. Jerica records a song she wrote and skyrockets from an internet video star to a global sensation. Her and her sisters are signed by a record label, which is when she changes her name to Gem. However, the label wants Gem to go solo, so she has to decide what is most important in the end. I haven't seen these actors in many other shows or films, so it will definitely be interesting to see how they could do in this film. Could it be their big break? I also love their band persona. They're punk rock girls who wear spiky clothes, wigs, and lots of makeup that becomes iconic for their band. It looks like an upbeat movie that shows a dream come true for every aspiring musician. I'd watch this in theaters, especially because Aubrey Peoples stars in the TV show Nashville, and I'd love to see her in a film role.
Thanks, Desiree. You know, sometimes it's hard to remember that all of these trailers will eventually become films.
Indeed, and one of the most memorable and effective trailers of the year was for Steve Jobs, directed by Danny Boyle.
Here to review that film is Danny Yount. Did it live up to the trailer, Danny?
Hello everyone. Today we're going to think different and talk about the new Aaron Sorkin penned and Danny Boyle directed film, Steve Jobs. I was able to get an early screening in of the film, and I immediately wanted to compare it to the 2013 film Jobs starring Ashton Kutcher, because in my mind, 2 Steve Jobs films in a span of 2 years is a bit ridiculous to me. But hey, he did change the way we live our lives today. This film was not really an Apple history lesson, but rather an artistic look at 3 specific points in Jobs' business life. Although Ashton Kutcher really does look more like Jobs, Michael Fassbender, who plays Steve in Sorkin's film, does an exceptionally well performance. He doesn't try to imitate Jobs, but rather fill in the gaps and make more of a statement about who he was and splash his own artistry in there as well. And I wasn't sure how Seth Rogen would play co-founder Steve Wozniak in this biopic drama either, but surprisingly he pulled it off for me. I didn't know if it was his voice, mannerisms, or the way he looked, but it worked with me. According to sources, Rogen didn't even know who Steve Wozniak was before playing him. After hours of hanging out with him and his wife, though, he got to know more about him, and you can really tell in this film. Overall, comparing this film to Jobs is, in a sense, comparing apples to oranges, no pun intended, because there are two different approaches going on here. The film Jobs boasts a more historically accurate rendition of Steve Jobs' life spanning across a larger time frame, whereas Steve Jobs is focused in on a smaller time frame with an artistic rendition of his behavior and relationship with his close business partners, and his family too. Overall, a much better film than I had anticipated for it being the second Steve Jobs film in the last 2 years. Now, that's all I can say without giving it away. So, go out and check it out for yourself.
Thanks, Danny. It sounds like there's much to enjoy in Steve Jobs.
Speaking of enjoyable content, be sure to stick around for our final word.
We'll be right back after the break.
The board believes you're no longer necessary to this company.
I sat in a garage and invented the future because artists lead and hacks ask for a show of hands.
You're gonna end me, aren't you?
You're being ridiculous. I'm gonna sit center court and watch you do it yourself.
We gotta find more of those tapes.
Look at this camera.
There's like obviously something going on here. It's got all these knobs you can adjust.
Oh my god.
How do you hold that? Cool, huh?
It's so big!
This is weird. I'm seeing something, and there's this thing that I'm picking up with the camera.
What is that?
One of your songs. I don't like being on camera.
At some point, we all wish that we could just become someone else.
I'm gonna play you a song I wrote.
Who's got the heart of a hunter, pounding like thunder?
She'll thank me later.
Growling the night.
Your immortality has made you the greatest soldier of the Action Cross in a war between our world and the next.
I've waited my entire life.
Body armor?
Let's keep all of that on a need-to-know basis, okay? Rise and shine, Songbird. Ah!
Your girl's gone.
What about the show?
Well, I guess the show must go on.
What the hell am I doing here?
The Martian movie, centered around astronauts who blast off from the planet Mars, leave behind Mark Watney, or Matt Damon, presumed dead after a fierce storm. With only a meager amount of supplies, the stranded visitor must utilize his wits and spirit to find a way to survive on the hostile planet. Meanwhile, back on Earth, a team of international scientists work tirelessly to bring him home, and his crew hatches their own plan to bring him home. This movie premiered on October 2nd, and Rotten Tomatoes has given it a 93%, so it obviously must be a must-see movie.
For my new release movie I want to talk about, it would be Crimson Peak, the new Guillermo del Toro film starring Tom Hiddleston. It tells the story of a young woman who tries to unravel the mystery of her new home with her ability to see and talk with spirits. While marketed as a horror film, I felt that Crimson Peak was more of a gothic thriller, much like del Toro's other works such as Pan's Labyrinth and even arguably Hellboy. And this is where we come into the issue of marketing versus results. I realize that this is the Halloween season, and with Paranormal Activity, the last one for this year, and a whole cavalcade of different horror films coming out, it's all right to call gothic thriller. I know more people were disappointed that Crimson Peak isn't a horror film than people that thought Trump killed it at the debates. So as always, go into any film ignoring the marketing, and you just might be pleasantly surprised. But that wraps up the show for the week. Be sure to check out our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Aiden Hall.
And I'm Madeline May. We'll see you next time.